Morning, Rage.
Hey, good morning, man.
Morning, everyone. Dr. Kennard here for 20 Atheists and the Raging Atheist. Um, I take it we're past the first bowl and into the second bowl at this point, Mr. Rage.
Yeah. I've been up for a while, doing my work, taking a break from another video. Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you ever got a chance to see my video on Pazuzu Algorand.
No, I didn't, and I need to see that. I've been. I'm not going to give you any excuses because that's just like a bitch thing to do, a wussy thing to do. So,
Well, I mean, it happens. I don't, I
so
don't.
tell me
Yeah,
about
we're
the.
busy.
Tell me for people who don't know about Mr. Pazuzu.
Well,
Well,
he's one of those Satanists that take it a bit too far, right? And he ended up killing a couple people. But I just did another video on another Satanist, and I wanted to get your perspective on it because now I'm starting to feel like a bit bad because now I'm like focusing on these like cray crays, and now I feel like I need
Man,
to do a video on like the other side of Satanism.
right. And I don't want to bust your balls on this, Rage, right? But brother, since you came on to talk about it, maybe talking about or disparaging a group that is currently facing persecution. It's not the
Well,
wisest choice.
this particular guy, his name is John Ramirez, I believe. He's a Christian now, um, and he talks about being a demon warlock who could astral project himself, curse the land, and capture whole peoples. But it's in regards to why Christians shouldn't follow Halloween or participate in Halloween.
Right.
So I always do these videos this time of the year, and I found this video, and I'm like, man, I just did a video on a Satanist. I can't do another one because then, I'm doing exactly what you just said. I'm portraying this group of people that are already stigmatized in a certain light. So I decided, like, when I did it, when I decided to do this video, all right, so now I really got to do an extensive video on the majority of Satanists in this country because they're
Right.
not crazy like this.
Because and I say this with love and compassion. And once again, I would be having this conversation with you right now, brother, behind, on Messenger or privately. But it's like saying, here's a Black Lives Matter protester who took things a little too far.
Yeah.
And you don't want to paint the
Yeah.
entire movement with this one person.
can I say something to that? Because I watched it, Rage.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to say that you didn't portray Satanism at all. It was very individual and it was very about him. And the only reason that I felt Satanism was in it, and you did a really good job, was because that was part of his reason why he did what he did.
Yeah.
And I think you also had a disclaimer that that is not in any way representative of that community.
Yeah.
Like you even said it like that. Not that it's a small part. You basically said it's no way representative.
Yeah. Most people
So
don't take
I
it.
think you represented it really well.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, because I mean, I'm having fun with this video. It's about Halloween and Christian persecution complex. That's ultimately what it's about, right? Is it's Halloween again, so tis the season for Christian persecution.
Right, dude. Right.
But I'm feeling bad about it because I am doing, what Andy's suggesting is I'm focusing on. All right, now this is 2 videos in a short period of time where I'm focusing on people that don't represent this community at all.
Well, it really it's difficult as a content creator to figure out what you're going to cover, right? Because we could be talking about Matt Dillahunty for the next 5 hours and about what's going on over at the ACA. I only know a little bit about it. I've got people messaging me about it, and
Me too. Me too. My gut is like so twisted. I'm like, should I? Shouldn't I? I don't.
And it's like, so who? I mean, if you start talking about Dillahunty, are we going to talk about the litany of sins that the other prominent atheists have done that still show up on people's channels on the regular? Right? We could be doing that. I don't know. And I'm not saying that those aren't important stories to cover. Right? I'm not saying that talking about Dillahunty isn't important. But it's like, what am I going to do? What are my choices?
Yeah.
And and like I said, to quote Billy Butcher from The Boys, it's like, I want to be taking a chainsaw to the other side. That's what I want to be doing. So with only so much time and energy in my hands, do I really have? I'll go on other people's show and talk about it, definitely. But in terms of making content about it, I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, and that's ultimately like my conclusion is I got to balance the field. So I'm going to do like this extensive video, but also, you know, I'll reach out to you behind the scenes. I'd like to have on a couple Satanists, and I know that you know some people that might be able to make that happen, and then they can come on because ultimately, like, you know, if you practice the rituals, whatever your version of Satan is, I don't care, because you're a minority. I see pretty much like similar in the way that I see pagans, right? Like, maybe I'd be different about it if you actually had political power and influence over me, but you don't. So like, do your thing, boo. But I'm trying to focus on, what the Pazuzu thing is different, but this is like Christianity, but it's like, no, I've got to balance the field now. I've got to really, if I'm going to have fun with this particular guy who says some crazy things on this Christian broadcast news network, well, then I've got to level that playing field, and I've got to do a really serious in-depth look at what Satanism really is. So, there can be no, misconceptions of where I stand on the issue.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good, Rach. And I think you're making the right choice on that, brother. And yeah, we can talk afterwards.
I'll shoot you a DM later on in the day, and we'll make that happen. Because every year this year I make fun of the holidays. It's like Halloween starts it. Last year I focused on Girl Defined and their whole Halloween stuff, and I found this video and I'm like, it's a golden nugget. But this is the season where Christians really start saying "boo-hoo me," and I love it. I have fun with it every year.
Well, I'm sure you're very pro Thanksgiving.
I despise that holiday.
I missed out on Halloween as a kid, like completely.
Oh man, it was my favorite holiday.
It is now mine. I love Halloween now.
We almost got arrested one year because we took the teeth off of a chainsaw and named it the Allison Chainsaw. And we hid in the woods with Jason masks, and kids would come by and we'd jump out with that chainsaw and scare the shit out of them. The cops were about to arrest us.
That's fantastic.
See, I sort of worry about the other side of it too, Andy, a little bit with the Satanism thing. Is if I don't say this, I feel a bit dirty.
Go ahead. Yeah.
We have to talk about the part of Satanism that is woo, and that is, the people that are
Howdy, Dave.
worshipping a deity that isn't real and stuff like that. I know we need to pick our battles, and that's a much smaller battle.
I don't really have an issue with the people that think it's real, as long as they have a real context to it. Go back and study the, if you're going to have a demonology, go back and study where it came from, study where Pazuzu came from. It's the people that take it literally in the Christian sense, that they literally thinking that they're following this evil master, and this evil master wants them to do evil things. Those are the people I think we need to kind of point out.
And you can definitely blame Christianity for that.
Yeah. And not only Christianity, but that entire demonic panic, Satan panic, or whatever it was back in the day, that really made this perception of Satanists as these sacrificial human beings that were trying to do harm to your virgin daughter.
It's important
and
to
that's
point
the
out.
Satanism I'm referring to, Andy. Is the Christian Satan.
Yeah.
The Satanism where they're attacking your children and your pets.
Yeah, which does happen, but not to the extent of that whole panic. And the panic really made it worse. Since I blame the satanic panic for people like Pazuzu Algarad, because otherwise he probably wouldn't have taken it so seriously.
If you look at the book Michelle Remembers, which really helped launch the satanic panic in the 80s, and how that book, which is a book of fantasy, I had Lucian on and a bunch of other Satanists talk about it on this channel a while back, and I made a short about it too. You can search on this channel for Michelle Remembers, the book that caused the satanic panic, and it's a ludicrous book. It is a book of Christian fantasy, and the author was on Oprah. People lapped that crap up, and propelled this version or that version of the Salem witch trials. And I just want to point out, QAnon is just another version of the Salem witch trials, of the Satanic Panic. This is just another manifestation of that mass hysteria.
They have a lot of the they believe in a lot of the same things, and it's kind of like an evolved extension of it, and it's really fascinating, and I think that's the Temple of Satan. I believe it's the Temple of Satan, right? They're the ones that really go out.
You have the Satanic Temple, and then you have
the Satanic Temple.
Yeah.
The work that they're doing, right? I think is fantastic and should be applauded by secular humanists everywhere. And some of those people do practice the ceremonies and actually believe in a deity. I don't think a majority of them does. I think a majority of them are it's a non-theistic religion, so to speak.
It is a non-theistic religion, right?
But some do. Some don't take it to the extent.
One of the basic tenets, number 5, is that belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. We should not distort scientific facts to fit one's belief. So that isn't atheism. If that isn't skepticism, I don't know what is.
I mean, as a lifelong activist, I've participated in a lot of different protests. I have to say, their protests are creative.
Well,
their performance art, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, and that gets people's attention. Extinction Rebellion also does. The environmental group also does these kind of large theatrical displays. And I was just talking to one of my coworkers the other day about Extinction Rebellion going up to the governor's home, placing a very large boat on the street, and then chaining themselves onto the boat to just bring awareness to the climate crisis that we're facing right now. So, large displays, theatrical displays, do get people's attention. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I remember Vice covered one of their, I think it was an abortion protest that Christians were having. Yeah, and they had these baby faces on, and they were dressed in diapers, and I mean, it was beautiful.
Pouring milk on themselves.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. And what's interesting, watching them develop as an institution, as a group, is how much do you spend doing protests like that, theatrical protests? How much do you spend on the lawsuits? How much time and money do you spend on doing things like Satan Con, which I guess is a thing in February next year? I think
it would be interesting. If I could come up with the funds to go and record and talk to people there, because I bet you'd get a huge hodgepodge of Satanists. I bet it's not going to be all Satanic Temple. It'll be Church of Satan, and plus you'll probably have a few of those outliers out there. It'd probably be an interesting con to go to and interact.
Dude, if we both go there, it'd be fucking nuts. That's what it would be. It'd be fucking hilarious. Be a good time.
Yeah, well, if the doctor stopped dicking me around and I'm gonna have this surgery at some point, I'm hoping to get back to normal.
Yeah.
But they keep, I think it's insurance at this point. I think insurance is you have to do everything before the surgery. What?
Are you telling me that insurance is getting in the way of you in healthcare?
Oh man, it sucks.
Who would have thought? I'm sorry, man. The system sucks, and it is. The gatekeepers are there to keep you from getting services. That's it.
Yep. Let's find some miracle way not to spend money.
Yeah. What's that, Sam?
Were you talking about going to the, what is it, Satan Con?
Satan Con, yeah.
If you do get there, you should do a stream from there.
How could we not? I mean, it would be
amazing.
It would be pretty.
Yeah, I'd love to go. We'll see if I can make it happen. Right now funds are short, but that usually rebounds. So, so I'm hoping. I'm still really hoping to make. I might already be too late for it. Did Oz already have his thing?
They postponed it.
Yeah,
that's until May.
Oh, if it's then I might still be able to make that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's not too far away.
They did a 45-minute stream to announce that they postponed it.
Yeah. That would have been nice to have gone to, but I think it was the reasonable choice was to postpone it.
But I think there was strong concern in the community about attending, considering the circumstances, even though most of the people on there are people that you would otherwise trust to be responsible with not going if they're not feeling well and getting their vaccinations and washing
I would.
their hands. And
I think most people in our community, this left side of atheism or whatever we are, have been vaccinated at this point. but I do understand, that better safe than sorry. Definitely.
Yeah.
You don't get to a point of, well, I should say, when you carry a solid foundation of epistemology, you're going to get to the right place on vaccinations the same way you got to the right place on theology, right? So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Somebody came to me at work yesterday, and they started to talk bad about, next month YouTube's going to start taking down all the anti-vax channels. I'm like, well, they've been doing that for months, and they need to. Like, this is like, and I went into this long spiel about, and I think I convinced her by the end of it that this is a good thing. Well, what about you as an atheist? I'm like, well, me as an atheist, I'm actually constitutionally protected. I have protections under the Constitution for a lack of religion. Disinformation is harmful.
What that person was doing was spewing Russian propaganda. This is how good Russian propaganda is. The YouTube channel that they took down recently, I believe that's anti-vaxxer, was run by Russians.
Yeah, I'm like, I literally had to tell her, like, 6 billion people have the vaccine. We don't see those people dying in mass numbers. The people we see dying in mass numbers are the people that don't have the vaccine. Like, just look at the numbers.
Well,
Yes.
the numbers are interesting when you say to somebody, if you look at the number of people who got COVID and the number of people who died, and it's a very slim sliver of a percent of those people. And then you look at the people who got vaccinated and the people who had a reaction to it, never mind died, but had a reaction to it. And it's a tiny little sliver.
I just want to go back to this because I just looked up a source, and this is from Reuters. And the YouTube channel that was taken down was a Russian-backed, misinformation channel. And so that person who was just talking to you, Rage, was reflecting a concern and spouting Russian propaganda.
See, I didn't even know about the channel.
Fucking KGB, FSB shit right there. That is misinformation.
It doesn't surprise me. Like, and that's what I was trying to tell her. Well, she's like, freedom of speech. And I'm like, well, that's a government thing. These are private companies. Like, YouTube's come at me, and yeah, I might bitch and groan about it, but that's their right to do so because they get to decide. It's their company.
The quote unquote, Russia said it was considering retaliating and accused YouTube of, quote, unprecedented information aggression. Fuck the Russians. Fuck Putin.
Yeah.
I fucking can't stand those guys.
You use the term misinformation, but I think you have to make a very clear definition between what is disinformation and what is misinformation. Somebody who is deluded into thinking something is true is spreading misinformation. Somebody who is creating the counter information is on a disinformation campaign, and those definitely need to be taken down.
Yeah. Well said, Dave. So many things to be angry about. So many things to be angry about.
It's Andy's foot stomp of the morning.
Yeah, that first story that you started off with just like blew me away. And it's messed up because like I've actually heard a story in my little town that was very similar to that. It didn't go as far as that, but I felt bad for the kid because he couldn't hear him. And they tossed him to the ground and cuffed him up.
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with this story. I didn't know about the one with the guy swerving around and killing the Black Lives Matter protester. But this story smacked of, you remember a year, maybe 2 years ago, it played out on national news of the mentally challenged black dude that the police just came and brutalized for the whole world to see.
I remember the story, and once we start talking about it, you can just go back and just think about all the stories that you've heard. There was a time of a person with a disability who just got popped by the cops. He was just sitting there in the street along with his caretaker, and he just got shot.
And that was filmed by the news crew that was there.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. The words fail me.
It's almost to like it's getting worse. The more like we talk about the issue, the more the issue has become ingrained in society. We had those protests a couple summers ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like the police are responding worse because we're trying to bring reform. Almost
Well,
like
that's
this
exactly what
stubborn.
it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. You see all these bills right now in Congress about controlling the pharmaceutical companies, about taxing the rich, and what do you see on fucking TV? You see nothing but ads by the other side, and it's exactly that, Rage. It's the fucking cops know that it's potentially their time is over.
Yep.
You know that they're gonna get regulated, and they don't
Yeah.
like it.
Yep. That's exactly.
And they're starting to lose reasons to arrest people and stuff. Like here in Texas, weed has been decriminalized to a point where it's like a misdemeanor as long as you only have a certain amount. So I'm sure like the arrest over that has dropped, but like they're probably looking for stuff.
How are they going to meet their quotas? What are they going to do? Protect and serve. What's up, Dragons?
Morning, Jason.
You jest.
Yeah, I mean, it creates an interesting dynamic when you change the police force and say to them, okay, now instead of tackling someone on the ground, you have to ask them politely to place their weapon in front of them and step back away from it, and then identify if they have any drugs on them and what those drugs are, and they're allowed to. And like, yeah, what are you gonna write them a ticket for jaywalking now? Is that all we got?
You mean you're gonna have to take the black hat off and put on the white hats? Oh no.
Well, no, I think mostly what we're asking for is more extensive training, which I mean, most civilized countries, their police forces get trained far longer than ours. 3 months you can be a cop in America. In
the United States, let's not throw Mexico and Canada in there.
Yes, in America, but it's they need to be able to recognize those situations. Like I, as a bartender, I can recognize when somebody's drunk or when somebody's high. It's my job to, because if I continue to serve those people alcoholic beverages, I'm responsible for it. You can learn how to recognize these behaviors, and you can, I think, police in a way that isn't, react first, ask questions later. But also, people are going to have to understand that there are situations where the police are going to have to react. It's going to have to, balance out. I think we're just asking for pretty much oversight and reform. Defund the police is such a bad slogan, and then the right, they put a megaphone to that bad slogan when the slogan is actually defund the police, refund policing. That's what it should be anyway, because that's what that's our message.
The defunding the police, it is so radical that it gets people talking about it.
And which is why it's designed in that way. Yeah.
Exactly. So you push the conversation to the left so far that, and it is and I'm not going to say it's a Trump strategy, because it's a selling kind of strategy, right? You highball, you set the standard so high that whatever you get, it's going to be pretty nice, right? And so you say defund the police, but instead you might just get, citizen oversight or audits of the police department.
And let's be honest, it's all the right does. It's why the left has gone so right. What option is there except to push as far left as we and be radical? Really, the result can only be a slight shift to the left. Really,
the Overton window is so far to the right now. It's like people used to say that this is a conservative Republican country, but it's not. It's a moderate to left country. But the Overton window is definitely over in that past conservatism now. I mean, because of Donald Trump, but it's been there for a long time.
So I just want to mention to God Equal Imaginary God about using America versus the USA. I try to use the term the states as much as humanly possible.
I'm shocking at saying America.
Yeah.
And if Dave's in the chat, I get so aware of it.
Yeah. But it's so common here just to call everything America.
It came from the songs, right? Mostly America the Beautiful, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
dogs,
didn't even get what Dave was doing, but I see what you're doing because when Americans say America, we incorporate all of America, all of the
North and
continent.
South America.
We are not all of the continent. I get it. Oh yeah,
we're
thank
not
you, Dave.
officially. We don't. It isn't like we own you guys, Dave.
Don't make me shut that water off. We'll own you in 24 hours.
It took square root or God equals the square root of -1. God is impossible to tell me that to show me what the truth here.
Yeah. Just another benefit of being on this channel, right?
What we were talking about before, you guys were talking about how we're shifting dynamics in that whole lefty righty thing. So I think what you're all agreeing on and saying is the middle ground is the best place to be.
Oh, Dave, through the heart, Dave. Oh
yeah.
Were you listening? Were you paying attention?
I'm gonna have to go cry my bitter tears now.
Right in the, I don't know if it's in the back, in the heart from the back. I don't know what it was.
Everywhere.
I knew something was coming, but I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. Brutal.
Shit made me
it's
cough up a
Andy's
lung.
favorite fallacy.
I fucking hate it so much. It just bothers me.
We're gonna blow the world up. We're gonna kill you. All right, we'll kill a bunch of people.
Right. We'll only blow up half the planet.
Oh, jeez.
Clockwork Rex, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Trying to wake up.
Trying to wake up. Well, good.
Yeah,
good.
I missed your main show, but I was catching the after party here.
Right. Well, this is definitely the cheerier, the two shows today.
Fair enough. Y'all were talking about the satanic panic back in the 80s. I lived through that shit. I was in school.
Yeah.
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons back then.
Me too. Yep.
And that fed a lot into the satanic panic.
Yeah.
Especially in the fundamental Christian churches.
It was
yeah.
one of the things that helped to break down the barrier was people saying, this whole satanic thing and bringing a board game into it and saying this is satanic. This is a way of teaching children how to be satanic.
Yeah,
and,
like you could
and there was
cast
such
spells
a
and
pushback
shit.
against it where I am. It was like, no, have you ever played this? This is like that's like saying if you play Risk, you're gonna turn into a warmonger who's gonna annihilate the entire world, right? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I had a friend of mine. He had the whole hardback second edition collection of Dungeons and Dragons, and he gave them to me because his mom threatened to burn them.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, and I still have them packed away somewhere.
You have the monster manual, the
I
Fiend
got
folio.
the monster manual. The only thing I don't have is Fiend Folio.
Oh, the Fiend folio. That's right, the Fiend folio. Yeah, that was
I've got Monster Manual 1 and 2, and I don't have the Fiend Folio. So.
I started going over.
That I missed out on. Like I missed out on all of that.
Dude,
my mom was horrible.
I grew up in a Southern Baptist home, and I started going over to my buddy Chris Myers, who's in my side chat every once in a while, house when I was like, I don't know, 14 years old. And we'd be there all weekend playing Dungeons and Dragons, 18, 24-hour games. My dad freaked out. You are following Satan. And I'm like, Dad, it's just like fantasy role play, man. It's like there's no Satan in this game. I had to show him the books. I had to borrow the books from my DM and show him the books. Like, Dad, there's no Satan.
right.
Oh yeah,
it's so funny.
We burned
like
so many hours playing that. Yeah,
it still happens like with Harry Potter, right? But it does make sense. Like I'm studying Messiah law right now for a debate. I have a debate on Sunday, and it's on Messiah law. And in Messiah law, you're not supposed to emulate what a spellcaster does or what a wizard does. This is doctrine to them. Like this, they believe this crap.
So what do they think they should be the punishment for spellcasters their age?
Oh, death. You kill a wizard.
Yeah,
definitely.
But how do you prove that one is a wizard? Like no one has ever proved that, right?
There is
I think that if you don't, I think that if you float, if they put you in the water and you float, then you do magic.
Yep.
And if you get to carry rocks in your pockets, or
But I think we all float, don't we?
There's a book from the I love referencing this on a poll every once in a while. There is the Malleus Maleficarum, which is translated as the Hammer of Witches, and it's basically a manual of dewitching, of how to find. It's the best known treatise on witchcraft. It was written by a Catholic clergyman, Heinrich Kramer, and first published in a German city in 1486.
Isn't that like the Inquisition used that?
Yeah. It was very popular among.
It's what sparked all the witch trials. I did a whole video on this book. And this book, modern Christians run away from it. It was a Catholic thing, of course. The Pope did put a stamp on it, or historically the Pope put a stamp on it. But there is speculation that the stamp was the seal was actually forged. But yeah, this book sparked all of the witch trials you hear about. Like the whole witch scare. They literally thought they would take your babies, kill them, grind them up into fine dust, put it on their brooms in their kitchens, and that made it able to fly. Like these cartoons you see of witches flying on their brooms comes from that shit.
Yeah. You get your spectral evidence, which you just kind of like report what psychotic delusions you have.
Yeah. Oh man.
You have.
I've always had difficulty with figuring out which is which.
Oh, dang.
Dave had to toss that in there. A good one. Slow clap.
Yeah, but yet there's another Mosaic law: do not be superstitious.
What?
I shit you not.
Wow.
Yeah. What's up, Dr. Tom Foolery, sleepyhead?
So if you're a real wizard, can't you like stop them from killing you? I mean, if you could actually cast like fireball or some shit.
That was always my question.
Because
why don't they just?
Because we know that fireball is only a 3rd level spell in D&D.
Yeah, it's not that big.
Is that don't be superstitious rule at the end of the book? It's like this ultimate troll.
No, it's like rule number 300 and something. I'll pull it up if I can. There's 615 Mosaic laws. 615.
Somebody has to make a movie where somebody goes back in time and just happens to have smoke bombs with them, and some crowd of people come after him for doing something, and they go smoke bomb and disappear, and it starts the whole Salem witch trials.
I've thought about that too. I've thought about that too. If you go back in time, like, I don't know, 250 years, and you've got a big lighter in your hand, boom, I can make fire just like that.
Well, imagine having like flash paper or something like that, where you could literally show them a fireball. Oh, I could hit you with this, poof, but I'm not going to. They lose their minds, right?
Yeah, they'd fucking go ape shit. Yeah.
I was reading this article the other day about the Congo, about eastern reaches, because witch hunts, inquisition, so to speak, on a local level still occur in sub-Saharan Africa. And there's a whole bunch of them that just popped up or have been going on in the eastern part of the Congo, which is pretty much it's just a wild area. And of course, being conducted by your favorite cult of mine, Christians.
In the Congo, they're doing crazy. Yeah, they're doing crazy stuff over in Africa, South America. I can't remember the name of the lobby here, but it's like the National Prayer Breakfast. It's the lobby that funds that. They're doing atrocious thing. In Uganda, they were trying to pass legislation that would kill homosexuals. Almost passed it, like barely failed. Barely.
Well, the reason why it failed is because there are several groups who put pressure on the government.
Yeah.
A couple of countries, non-government groups, NGOs, and they said basically, if you're going to pass this, then there's no way we can do business in Uganda. Your economy is going to tank, and that's the only reason why they didn't pass it.
I mean, there is speculation, like what they're trying to do in South America and in Africa is test runs for what they want to do in America.
Yeah,
in the United States, I should say, Dave.
Right.
You can call it Murica because
Murica works. Murica.
Yeah.
Real quick, it was actually Leviticus. Where's it at? Leviticus 19:26 tells you not to be superstitious. So,
does it?
But it turned into such a great song.
Right. Wow.
Oh man.
Oh, I get it now. Dave's the comic relief. Okay, I get it now.
Only when I'm on, because I bring all the serious shit. Yeah.
It's just how the hamster rolls in the wheel, buddy. That's just
That's
how
exactly
it works.
it. That's exactly it. Yeah. So I have some good news. I have a second job lined up, which is going to be completely. I don't have to show up. I don't have to be in person. It's all distance stuff. So
The best jobs are ones you don't have to show up for.
yeah, I just get to be. It's actually comedy related too. I can't talk more about it, but yeah,
Heck
I'm
yeah.
gonna be starting it
You
soon.
live such a secretive life, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, soon I'll be able to talk about things.
Now I know I can't ask you. I just can't openly say anything, like blurt stuff out that might be letting a cat out of a bag, a disappointed cat out of a disappointing bag. But have you spoken to Pasta Mike this week?
I have. I don't talk to anyone. The only time I talk to anyone is here on this right now.
I know nothing.
And
See nothing.
I talked with. I will say that I've talked to Seamus and Neil about getting the show Atheists Drinking Out Loud for this Saturday. That's what I've talked. See,
Yeah.
I talked to people, and then Seamus sent me that a video about Dillahunty, which I saw part of, and those are the people I talked to tell you the truth.
Now y'all got me messed up. I'm like, what is going on with Dillahunty? Now, should I have to go investigate on my own, don't I? I have to go look for it.
Do you want to
Y'all
handle
don't-
that, Mr. Rage?
I want to. I think I'm just.
Just put a link in the private chat.
Yeah, I'm staying away. Yeah, I have my own personal grudge against Mr. Dillahunty. So
Shane, I believe Shane
Yes.
and he's over the Tank channel now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he has been for a while. Yeah, Shane the Skeptic.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shane the Skeptic got kicked out of the ACA for the reported issue as domestic abuse by Mr. Dillahunty. That's what I understand the current situation is.
I
Whoa.
am 100% sure that the reason that Shane got kicked out of the ACA, like the talent on the ACA, right? Like actually being live and online, is because of his affiliation with Tart and Tang.
Oh, really?
They are a direct competition. They stream at the same time. They are trying to fill an entire channel with the Atheist Network group. And in retaliation for that, the ACA has now come out with the ACN, whatever it's called, the
AEN, the Atheist Entertainment Network or something like that.
the Atheist Network of Austin or something like that. So they've reacted strongly, and I have to admit the quality of the content
That stuff was happening way before Tart, way before
way
Tang.
before they changed to Tang. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think those coincide at all. Like at all. Like the timing of all of that happening. Shane was gone way a long time before
fuck it.
Tart started doing all that.
Fuck it. I think for a long time, Austin has considered themselves the leaders of atheism, in that they get to police who we are and what we do and how we're supposed to think and speak on this platform. I felt that for a long time, and I stopped watching them a long time ago. When I had COVID, me and Jen Aldrich was having beef, and Jen Aldrich is best friends with Matt Dillahunty, and Matt Dillahunty came on my Twitter stream to talk shit to me about my beef with Jen, which was between me and Jen, and Matt Dillahunty had nothing to do with it because he thinks he's the police of atheists. You are nothing to me but another human being. That's it. That's all. You can debate, but that's it. I'm sure you're good at magic. You know,
They ended up taking Jen Aldrich off the air as well, right?
Now my enemies are blasting that everywhere. I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, when
I don't
what
watch
was her name?
any of those
Clockwork, I think, was
shows.
about to start.
Well,
Sorry,
I
Clockwork.
quit watching when they kicked Tracy and Jen off, because I was like, there's something fucked up going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Well, there
Either
always
they
has been a
left.
power dynamic in their board, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, either they just quit or they got kicked off somehow, and then that's when I quit watching.
And people get burned out. People get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over. And the quality, that's the thing is when there was a while there where Matt was being far too aggressive with people, and they didn't have anyone who was non-Matt on the show. Everybody was getting kicked in the teeth every time they came on. And you ended up seeing people like Otangelo getting airtime 8 times a day on different shows because nobody else was calling them. The quality of the content went completely in the pooper, right?
Yeah. I mean, when they were on their public access channel when they started back in the day, it was a lot better because you had that rotation of people in there. But once they moved to their quote unquote ACA studio,
Yeah.
then the shit just went downhill.
But make no doubt about it, some of their highest rated shows are the ones with Matt on them. Some of
sure.
the best watched shows, if you look at who's watched shows in their entirety after they were live, like once they've been posted, and who watches those slices of content, I would gamble to say that there are others like Shannon Q, like Scott Clifton, like Dave Warnock, that get far more views from the body of their followers and from people who are actually genuinely watching the show and catching up on quality content, not just somebody taking their feelings out on somebody who's asking them a question for the 35th time.
I don't want to wave my godless dick around too much, but I'll say that Patheos Non-Religious, and this might be an old number from last year, is the largest atheist site in terms of traffic. Of course, not on this channel, but in terms of the intranets. We have people like Hemet, Jonathan M.S. Pierce, all types of folks on that channel. So that's my plug for Patheos Non-Religious.
I just wanted to say, I haven't watched any of those people for a long time. I literally get my atheism fix here with Andy and with Rage on the Rage's channel, and that's probably it, to be honest. And I also wanted to say that the Atheism Entertainment Network sounds boring as fuck.
I think I said that wrong. I don't have that right. That acronym is different.
Yeah.
I wasn't even aware they had another channel.
AEN is the Atheist Experience Network.
It's where they have all the podcasts. They put all the shows into podcast form on that specific channel.
They do have really great talent. I'm a huge fan of Shannon Q. I really like Talk Heathen when Eric and V. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but when they were running Talk Heathen, I loved it. Even though I disagreed with God, I can't remember names
Eric
this
Murphy?
morning. No, I did. I can't remember her name, but somebody came out against the whole Talk Heathen name, and heathen shouldn't be in the name. Heathen applies to Norse pagans, and it does, but Christians have applied heathen to us, and that's why we have adopted heathen. And my philosophy on it is I talk to heathens. I put it in my intros, and I see Christians see us as heathens. We are heathens to them. They gave us the name, we didn't take it. So although I disagree with it, they fired ex Cold Baby is her name. They fired her basically because she had a gripe with it, and she was griping her gripe, and that's what I don't like about it. It's the politics of it. Matt Dillahunty's done great things for atheism. One of the best debaters we got, became really super famous, has had really huge debates, and I think naturally that shit went to his head.
Yeah, man. My vow is to never be successful.
The thing is, though, is the ACA is not Matt Dillahunty.
Yeah, it's not.
Like, to me, whenever I am a supporter of the ACA, and
but
we're
he made
talking
it.
about a whole. No, he didn't. He's
Well, not
the-
in the terms like he's the initial creator, but Matt Dillahunty, his name, his brand built the ACA.
I
The
don't
reason-
know, because there's a whole lot of people that y'all have also brought up that have Tracy Harris. I love her. I mean, she is badass. Jen Peoples, all the people.
Oh yeah,
that,
without a doubt.
there's been so many people that have gone through there. I think Matt Dillahunty just gets like targeted a lot for things because he is popular, but he is not like responsible like for everything that the ACA does.
Well, he used to be the president
No.
and he stepped down.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. No, I don't think that at all. Like, I'm not even aware of the current politics. Like I said, I have no idea. I stopped watching them a long time ago. It's just I've noticed in the community they police, and I don't like, think share, like we got to have this group think. No, we don't. Atheists, we're this hodgepodge of a thing. There's right leaning atheists, there's left leaning atheists, there's people that believe a lot of different crazy stuff that are still atheists. You don't get to police what people say and how they say it. So that's my big gripe with them. Outside of that, I think they do good work. I just don't watch them anymore.
Man, his show was called The Hang Up because he hangs up on you if he doesn't want like what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Like
I've watched
it
that.
doesn't get much
I've
more
never understood it,
policing than
'cause-
that. Like,
There's been several occasions where I've just raged out on Christians, and I get these certain types that come at me every time I do it, but they don't mind it when Matt does it, right? It's like this hypocrisy that I've noticed.
it's okay to do it, but to make a show out of it.
Oh yeah. There's only been a handful of times, and usually I was drunk. I have an excuse.
But really, it's just part of the joke in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think he embraced it. It definitely became part of his personality and what he was known for. But like the man has had huge debates. Like, I mean, he nailed William Lane Craig in their debate, I thought. He's had huge debates.
If you look at those debate reviews from the other side, and they usually do polls on who do you think won, or who do you think did better, or who do you think explained their point better. The Christian side is always in the 90s% of in favor of their person because they just don't listen to the other side.
Yes. Yeah.
And as much as we love those debates and what's going on, the smarter of the people on the Christian side will not engage in that because either they're not qualified as a debater or they don't want to risk embarrassing themselves in that sort of situation. So we are punching at low-lying fruit. Whenever we have a Tangelo on, whenever we have Canadian Catholic, whenever we have Darth Dawkins, whenever Matt does one of these debates, when Scott Clifton goes out, and who did he debate? William Lane Craig or something? These are all low-lying fruit. They're easy targets, right?
Well, that's the thing, and I agree with you on that, Dave, is that I think when you're doing these debates, you're running a ground game, basically. You might not, you're using an American football analogy, then you're not throwing long bombs there, right?
We have Canadian football, you know that, right?
I understand.
See, I look at it slightly different. So I'm having a debate with CJ Cox on Sunday, and yeah, he's not a huge big debater, but what he is a real fundamental evangelical Christian, right? And I'm going to get there, and he's a guy that believes Mosaic law should be in society today. We should have slaves. He's a guy that literally believes these things. So I get to talk to a real Christian that practices it in everyday life, that is deep into his core, instead of somebody that has put it on this platform as this kind of recycled script that they go out and they perform these debates with, right? So like I get to talk, in my opinion, I'm talking to the real Christians, where Matt, he's having some huge debates, but he's talking to the script.
Yeah. Well, once again, not denigrating or what debaters do, because it's
Matt. In my opinion, Matt Dillahunty is the best debater in atheism, without a doubt.
Well, he destroyed Jordan Peterson. So that
there's nobody better in my opinion, and I think he knows it.
That may not help. That may exacerbate the situation.
Well, the funniest debate I ever saw Matt do was against Cy-10 Brugengate.
Yeah.
Because he knew exactly what Ty was
going to say. That was classic. Man, I still listen to that Clockwork when I'm cleaning sometimes.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It is. How do you know that? Well, how do you know that? Are we all just brains in a jar?
Yeah. The argument of you don't know that I don't know that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's fucking great. I do still watch parts of it, yeah. Just to watch Satyan get flustered.
Yeah, and man, I still I love watching debates, and he's the best, you know. So I when I watch Matt Dillahunty, I'm watching his debates. You know,
Yeah.
I got tired of that call-in show
I
format.
like watching Hitchens' old
Oh, yeah.
debates because he had such a great
Oh yeah,
algorithm, right? He would do one, British accent, two, big word the other side doesn't know, three, cultural reference that the other side doesn't know. So while they're trying to Google up what the word means, now there's some kind of obscure reference, and then and then he chortles, and then a couple of people in the crowd kind of chortle too. So now the other guy doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's still trying to look up that word. He still doesn't.
Kind of like a form of the Gish Gallop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite Hitchens debates. It was him and Stephen Fry against some people from the Catholic Church.
That was
Yeah. That was brutal.
Yeah. He pulled no punches in that debate.
And when you see debates like that, you learn very quickly, if you don't have the weapons to get in the ring, stay out of the ring.
oh yeah. I learned that really quick. In my first few debates, I didn't know what modern day debate was inviting me on. I'm like, I'm not going to pass up this. I didn't know what I was doing. And I showed up, and, luckily my opponents weren't that strong. But no, I had to learn how to do it. And it took a lot of people helping me,
Did you go in the I think it was still Tart at the time when they did the debate off?
No, it was a big thing on Facebook, and Oz and I think it was Godless Engineer was trying to get me to do it because I was like, I wasn't as sure of myself as I should have been, so I stayed out of it. Yeah.
Well, GE did a hell of a job. I mean, when you and T-Jump, I mean, he is a tough character to break down in a debate. But yeah, Godless Engineer earned the title for sure. And I know they're going to do that again, but it's it's like watching Big Brother. It's trash TV. It's The Simpsons. It's not content that's going to get you anywhere in the secular community. It'd be nice to see them side channel that sort of thing, so that people who are looking for questioning theist content can actually find it. It's one of my things that I brought up a couple of years ago. Like, people should actually have ratings on every video they make. This has sexual content, it has foul language, it has drinking or drug usage in it, and it is theist friendly, or if it's not theist friendly, mark it as such. So that
it's a good idea.
When a question,
I really like Pasta Mike's channel. He's been going out and like having conversations with people on the street. Like the last one they put out, Oz was out. Yeah, well, I don't know that where they just go out and they have conversations with people. Those are really interesting to me. I like those kind of dialogues much more. It keeps my
technology kind of stuff.
I don't think enough people in the atheist community watch Anthony Magnabosco's channel, and
dude, I'm up to date with him.
That's impressive, Tobin. That's impressive.
Hello. He has the puzzle pieces and asks the questions. I think that's a better way. It's a better way to involve yourself in the conversation. And there's always the opportunity, if you're having a conversation with somebody, asking them about what they believe and why they believe it, what they believe is proof, what they believe is true. And they ask you, well, what do you believe? You have an opportunity to engage with them in a conversation. And they if you go onto their Discord channel, they always tell you, keep it light. Like when I was at work the other day and one of the guys points out that he's seen me on here and he's like, Dave's an atheist. And Dave makes, he does all this content with other people. And they said, oh, what kind of content do you guys do? And I said, most of the content is based along the lines of secular humanism. Yeah. That's, that you don't want to put a trigger word out there for somebody. You want to be soft on them. If they ask more questions, well, what's it about? It's about how religion interacts with society. Well,
Right.
what does it get into? It gets into everything. It gets into some things that are pressure points, and it gets into some really fluffy surface stuff that we talk about in day-to-day language. But if you want to introduce somebody, you don't send them over to Matt Dillahunty to say, no, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, I get amazed. I've had several people reach out to me and say that they watch my channel and that deconverted them. Like they stopped believing. And it amazes me. I don't know how true it is, but I'm like, my channel ain't for that. Like there's way far better people to watch besides myself. My channel is for the atheist that's alone and doesn't have nobody to talk to and they're mad about it. That's who my channel's for.
I think,
if you're out there in the
Thanks,
chat and
Rage.
if you haven't seen it yet, watch Axioms on Trial, because the content in there, it gets
Yeah, J-Mike.
It gets a little rabbit holey sometimes, and it gets down into the deep and dirty stuff. But the content on there is intellectually stimulating and very relevant. So if you haven't been there yet, go check it out.
First time I came across J Mike, we kind of got into it a little bit about our different approaches. But I have to say he's an intelligent dude. I actually like the guy, but we did get into it the first time we came across each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to look at how different groups, or approach, convert, or reaching their goals, right? Because it's about reaching goals. So you have like the Satanists, you have like the Satanic Temple. I don't recall seeing any Satanists from TST actually debating people. What I see them doing is building up their own community, taking it to the theocrats in the courts, doing these kind of large theatrical displays. But I don't see a lot of debates. When I look at Extinction Rebellion, I know that they have a specific policy not to engage people hard on the other side, because their time and energy is best used for converting people in the middle, right? Converting people who are kind of wishy-washy about the topic. But that being said, there's still definitely worth talking to people who are hardcore on the other side and try to change their hearts and minds too. One doesn't mean, just because you're in favor of one method doesn't mean you have to be anti the other method.
Yeah, what was
right
that
on
that put up the statue of Baphomet in front of that courthouse?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but then some fucking crazy fundamentalist decides I'm going to hit it with my car. That was even funnier.
Yeah,
someone would do that. I'm going to take my, however many thousands of dollars this car costs, and I'm going to run it into this fucking statue just because.
They do this crazy, like at my work we have these regulars that come in. They have this really expensive truck, like it's got this black covering over the bed and it's all like tinted out, and it's like you could just look at the truck and like they spent a lot of money on that truck. But then they go and write in yellow lettering, Joe Biden sucks, on the sides of these tinted windows. And then on the back of it, put some long ass paragraph about how Joe Biden sucks in this yellow lettering that just ruined the fucking tint of this beautiful truck.
Well, what always annoyed me is that there's this classical economic model where economists thought people were rational beings, spending their time and money in rational ways. And it's like, no, we don't do that. We don't come close to doing that.
And what did it say? It said, maybe this will teach you to think with your heads and not with your hearts. On the back of this dude's truck, man.
Vandalizing your own truck is not going to convince me of your argument, sir.
Oh, God, they own themselves.
All right, so everyone, I'm going to have to close down the show. And because it's that time, but I'm doing the same thing tomorrow. Take care. Thank you, panel.
Because Andy has boundaries.
Because I have to go to work. I need Shamala
responsibilities.
Yeah,
Shamala Hamala.
And so I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Take care, everyone. Thanks, panel. Thanks, chat.
Happy Truth and Reconciliation Day.
Oh yeah, y'all have